for today. So we have Phil and Jan. Hi, welcome back to the show,
morning.
Phil. Welcome
Good
to the show.
morning.
It's your first time, isn't it? Jan?
Yeah, it's my first time.
Jan's
Thank
first
you for
time.
having me.
Yeah, it's always good to have you.
Really glad
It
to be
will
here.
always be good to have you because now you're here, you're obligated to come back. So,
okay.
that's just the way things go.
Here I am back.
Phil, this is like your third or fourth time here, I think, isn't
Something
it?
like that.
Something
yeah.
like that, yeah.
Yeah.
So, the BCP Tuesday Market at the Fairgrounds, or as they say, the Feria.
Feria,
The
yes.
Feria?
Yeah.
My pronunciation isn't all that good. Is you guys set to open up on Tuesday, right?
We are opening on Tuesday, indeed. Yes. It's been a long pass.
But
yeah, we are finally there. We're opening on Tuesday morning at 9 o'clock.
At 9 o'clock. And I am going to, I think I'm going to be in town on Tuesday. I might be in Puerto Rios, but if I am here, I want to come and check it out.
Great.
I've been, as you know, from the last time you and Sheila were on the show, we were all anticipating, this day coming. And everyone can get back in there, and you went into detail about how the place is set up, and I'd like to actually go over that again, so people will understand that all the biosecurity protocols are being followed, the distancing and all that, the sanitary and the cleaning and all that is going to be done, because people are concerned about that, and I know that you guys have done a lot of work to make sure. And I know MINSA has put you guys through the ringer to make sure that everything is going to be safe for everybody. So, which one of you guys want to address that?
Well, I'll start it off, shall I?
Take it
All
off.
right,
I mean,
take it away, Phil.
We've almost become a circus act in jumping through hoops. There's been hoops of all sizes.
Yeah.
But I think we have successfully gone through all of them, and MINSA has actually given us the approval
Great.
to go ahead. And it's not just MINSA that we had to jump through hoops for either. Let's go right the way through the whole thing we've gone through to get here.
Sure, go ahead.
This actually began back in March, the week before the big crackdown and everything closing. Because we already knew at that point that we were going to have to move out of our old home,
Right.
which is now tap out, of course. As soon as we knew that, we started talking to alternative venues.
Right.
And really the only one that ever made a lot of sense was to do it in the Feria grounds.
Yeah.
There were alternatives, but they weren't downtown, they weren't big enough. There were always drawbacks. And
Well, downtown is kind of really important to have it downtown.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When we started just saying vaguely that we were looking at alternative venues, we got lots and lots of messages saying,
Excuse me.
don't move out of town.
Yeah.
Okay, so we haven't.
Well, that would be hard, not just on the patrons, but also on the vendors. Having to.
Yeah. It's okay for some, not okay for others.
Yeah.
And it was also pointed out quite often the number of people that actually walk to the market
Yes.
because they live in downtown Boquete. They did not want then to have to start getting buses and taxis to go
Sure.
to the market and then get buses and taxis back loading with all their gains from the day. So
That's true.
Downtown was really what made sense, and as I say, the only real venue that we could think of downtown was the Feria grounds. They have this wonderful room right on the corner, the Arco Iris Rainbow Room, which a lot of people know from other events.
Well, yeah, the Oktoberfest was
The
there, the health
Oktoberfest.
fair, yeah.
In the last year, they've completely refurbished it, so some people might not have seen it as it is now.
Well, I haven't. Last time I was in there was I think the health fair last year was like September, October, maybe
Right,
last.
yeah.
So what have they done to make it more amenable?
They've redecorated the whole place with some very tasteful additions. They haven't just painted the walls. They've put in some interesting things to look at as well.
Cool.
Well, and the most important part of all of this, in my personal view, is that the bathrooms are stellar.
Yeah.
Yes.
There are multiple stalls. They are pristine, clean.
Wow, yeah.
They are roomy, and they are equipped, and our patrons will enjoy them very much.
Well, that's no small thing.
No.
There's a lot of people who that puts them off.
Yeah.
I know I'm one of those people. I have a list when I travel in the States. When I live there, I have a list of bathrooms on the routes that I'm taking, and there are websites that will tell you, you know, which are the clean bathrooms and which are the ones to stay away from. So, you know, if people are going to arrange their entire travel itinerary based on clean bathrooms, it tells you how important that is. So
but there's a few airports you have to avoid that.
Yeah, well, yeah, it's true too.
Yeah.
Another plus to this particular venue, I think, that I'm really going to enjoy, and I know that our vendors and our patrons will, is that this is such a beautiful, open, airy room, and it is all one level. There's no ups and downs, and you know, for the safety of everyone, that's very relieving to all of us that have seen people take a fall.
Oh God,
Yeah.
I'm one of them. You know, I mean, if anyone knows anything about me, I use mobility aids. I walk with the cane. My legs aren't good at all. I drive with hand controls. And even those little lips, you know, that sneak up on you like 2 inches. You don't see them. I have tripped over those. I have tripped going upstairs. I have tripped going downstairs. I have tripped going down ramps. I have tripped going up ramps. I trip everywhere.
Yeah, I trip on flat surfaces, so I'm just this totally drops my chances of hitting the ground.
Yeah,
so.
you get to a certain age, you don't bounce anymore.
No, not very well.
Yeah. Anyway, Phil. So what else have they?
They put in a drop ceiling. now,
okay.
With lots of lighting. So there's panel lights all over the ceiling. There's also ceiling fans.
Oh yeah. I remember you said they were putting those in the last time you were on.
And also they've retiled. You know, you said it's all flat. Well, they've completely retiled the area. And
yes, good morning.
Good morning. And the tiles are non-slip.
Yeah. Again,
which
right?
is also
right?
very important. Yes.
Yeah.
That was something we wondered about early on, because I always wear Crocs, and a slippery tile is something I don't want.
Yeah.
You know,
yeah.
so there's all that. And
Just because it used to be the skating rink doesn't mean it has to still be the
doesn't have
skating
to
rink.
still be one. That's right. Yeah. And as Jan said, if it's not too inappropriate, you can actually swing a cat in the bathrooms.
Well, you know, that's a sport somewhere, I guess.
Some people
right?
want to. You know? It's one of those things. Yeah. So going back to that, we settled on that as being an ideal room, and then of course negotiations stopped completely because we couldn't have a meeting with them. They couldn't have a meeting with each other. But we kept up the contact, and eventually, we were all able to agree on the terms and conditions for us to use it. And I have to say that the Feria management have been very generous in their arrangement they've made with us. So, it's good. Then, of course, we had to wait and wait.
Yeah.
And wait. Yeah. Then the hoops appeared.
Uh-oh.
Because, we started to feel, well, we are getting to the stage where we have to be ready to open as soon as we are given permission to open.
Yeah.
So we started talking to MINSA, and we carried on talking to MINSA. Then we found out there were 2 other government offices we also had to talk to, some legalities that had to be taken care of that nobody had imagined.
Wow.
We thought, we just get clearance from MINSA and we'll be fine.
Well, yeah, sure.
Yeah.
What could possibly be thrown into that? What monkey wrench
what
could
else
be
could
hurled
it
at
possibly
you?
be? Yeah. So we assumed early on that when we opened, we would have to observe all the social distancing.
Well, sure, yeah. You know that going in.
Yeah. We knew that would be a case at some point, for some amount of time. So we mapped out the room and worked out how we would position everything so that it met all the requirements. The tables would be at least 2 meters apart in each direction. We arranged it so that the pedestrian traffic would be a one-way flow.
Oh, I was going to ask about that. Because it's like being in the grocery store.
Yeah.
No matter how hard you're always going to bump into somebody, you can start going the other way.
That's right, yeah. So the aisles between tables are more than 3 meters wide.
Oh, wow, that's...
So there's plenty of room, especially with people going one way between the tables. And... we've arranged it so that vendors are sitting back to back rather than, rather than just haphazard across from each other.
Basically organized.
Yeah, we're amazing. We worked out at that point that there was room in that room with every bit of social distancing required to have 50 vendors in at a time.
Even with the
social distancing.
And I guess with that 3 meters or that 18 feet between the tables, there's enough room for not just the pedestrian traffic, but for the shoppers to be at the tables without cramming into each other.
That's right. So you can have a table each side, a person each side, and there's still a couple of meters in between for people to walk in one direction.
Cool.
I don't know how easy that's going to be to control, but we're
giant arrows, maybe. I don't know.
We're putting up arrows,
pushers,
no entry signs, and things like that. We can't push anybody because.
No, but you can swing a cat at them.
We can't. We could actually have a herd of cats on standby, couldn't we? And that might not work. Anyway, we worked out, as I say, that we could get 50 vendors in there with all the social distancing, and then we had MINSA come round. We set it all up with all the tables and chairs in positions, and we had MINSA come round to have a look, to prove to them that we knew what we were doing, and they said, "Oh yeah, good. We'll allow 25 vendors." Great.
Monkey wrench number 1.
Yeah. Well, yeah. We had hoped that they wouldn't cut it down below 30, but 25 actually works out quite well because we've got 50 vendors signed up.
Right.
So, an alternate week arrangement
that'll work.
is what we're going to have to start off with. And we've spent a lot of time working out the balance of vendors so that there's the same kind of balance of vendor each week.
Okay, so that gives consistency to the people visiting, to the shop.
Yeah.
Okay.
If people are coming to look for meat, there'll be somebody there selling meat.
Right.
If they're looking for coffee, there'll be somebody there. Vegetables, there'll be somebody there. But it'll be alternate weeks for each vendor.
Right.
And that's the way it's working out. And we're at the stage now where we're juggling more circus acts. We're juggling the vendors for the first week a little bit because one or two have said, well, we've got this shop that's opening on the Monday. I don't think we can be there the next day.
Right, because a lot of things are opening next week. So I guess they would have to get their main brick and mortar.
Yeah, I mean a prime example of that is Sugar and Spice.
Yeah,
who are going to be now in the second week of the market, not the first week of the market, because of opening on Monday.
Yeah.
So we've had a few people also say, well, actually I'm not ready because I can't get certain things that I need until next week.
Yeah. Well, they're also waiting on suppliers to open. Yeah, I guess that would be a kind of a juggling act, I mean, with everything opening up the same day, unless I guess someone's only venue is going to be the market, but a lot of people that's their secondary, so they would have to concentrate on getting their stores open.
Yeah. Yeah. A lot of our vendors are the artisans.
Yeah.
Who don't necessarily have another outlet.
Right.
And we've got something like 5 or 6 of those each week, maybe 7 each week, and jewelry makers. Sure. There's things like that which.
Well, it's one of the things that really gives the market its appeal is that, it isn't just food, it isn't just coffee, it isn't just there's, and if it's not set up, but if it's that's the word I'm looking for, arranged or organized the way that it was in when it was at the tap out, there's a really good variety of different products and services available that are going to be available. Now, are you going to have the different types of vendors grouped together? Like here's all the food people and here's all the artisans, or is it going to be just
not completely? Certainly not at the beginning because it's been a struggle working out where to put everybody in which week. But some of the vendors wanted that and some didn't. In fact, most didn't want to all be grouped together.
Okay.
They wanted it to be spread out. So that's probably how it's going to remain. Although by default, there will be some grouping.
Yeah.
some people had specific ideas of where they wanted to be.
Right.
And we had a lovely map done of all 50 tables, exactly how everybody wanted. They chose their own positions, and beautiful map.
Beautiful map.
Beautiful
Yeah,
map.
beautiful. It's the best map
The
the
pr-
world
it-
has ever seen.
I had no idea
Yeah.
you had all that talent.
It's the greatest map in the world. But unfortunately, we then had to tear that up and split it into two. So the answer is don't know.
Don't know. Yeah.
Whatever the question was, the answer is don't know.
Well, it's that seems to be the way things generally are, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, when Day and I would go to the market, it would be interesting because I like going to certain vendors that I would go to every time I went, but I also liked walking around and seeing what was new, and seeing what the new I guess artisans, or maybe just people who sold knickknacks and whatever, they'd have different things every week. So I got myself a little system. I'd go in, I'd stop here first, and then I'd go stop here, and then I'd walk around and wander. And then, of course, I'd see people, because it's a social thing, too. And I'd end up talking for an hour or two. And then I find out that I'd end up spending the entire morning until people started packing up. Ended up picking up a few things, but I also ended up, reconnecting with people I haven't seen in a while. And one of the things I wanted to ask is that because the market is not just a conglomeration of vendors, it's a social gathering place, and it always has been. How is the new social distancing and the mask mandates? How do you think that's going to affect that aspect of the market?
It's obviously going to have an effect for as long as we have to maintain those things. It's very strict rule that everybody inside the building has to be wearing a mask.
Yeah.
And you can't sort of all gather together in a group over in the corner and have a chat.
Yeah.
You could have a shout, I guess.
Yeah. Hey, how are you? Haven't seen you in a while. Yeah.
So it's not going to be as social as it was before, at least to start with.
Yeah.
Maybe when things slacken off more in October, maybe we can then get back to having all of the vendors in at once and more people in, because that's another issue, of course. Apart from the 25 vendors, they're also limiting how many people can come into the room apart from the vendors, and they're limiting that to 25 as well.
Oh, okay. So they just don't want more than 50 people in the building.
There are more than 50 people in the building, because there's the vendors, there's the staff, and up to 25 visitors. But they're okay with that.
Yeah.
But we will have to keep a strict eye on how people are coming in and out. And
well, it's still the one entrance, right? You
It's one
mentioned
entrance.
that you had, and you're going to have the foot pads and the alcohol, and
we'll
temperature,
have
and all
everything
that.
we have to have will be there. Yes. Yeah. And
I think it's okay to say that we've been told we will not be required to have the wet foot pads at the
that's
door,
true.
Yeah.
That's not
which is really
obligatory.
quite nice. I don't really enjoy walking into that in other
No.
places, but what people can expect when they come in is a lovely, clean venue. You'll see some familiar faces. You'll see outside of the door one of our volunteers manning the mail. We've got
The
some,
mail, so that's going to be there too.
it
yeah.
absolutely
All right,
will
good.
be there, and we have a lot of people in Boquete that are anxious to get their voting done, as well as their personal mail.
Sure.
And so that will be familiar. You'll see a lot of the same people you've always seen. Our jobs have changed a little bit because we have to. We honor and respect the rules that we have to follow.
Well, sure.
And for a lot of us, this is going to be one of our biggest outings that we've had in
I
a
know,
long
right?
time. and it's going to be a little tenuous for some people to walk into a building and without many people in it for the first time in so long. And it's really going to be. I think it's going to be an environment that people will be very comfortable with, because it's with the distancing, with the air blowing through the building, the windows. I think most people are going to feel, if you can go to the grocery store,
You can go, yeah.
you
Well,
will
you know,
feel 10 times more comfortable coming to the BCP market.
Well, you know, it's very important that people, you know, a lot of us don't really, you know, we'll get up, we'll get in the car, we'll go to the grocery store, you know, we'll step on the thing, we'll get a temperature blog, go in, do our shop, and come back, and not really think twice of it. But there's a lot of people that are genuinely concerned and worried about being. We saw a lady in Baru yesterday in a full hazmat suit. You know, so there are people who are very, very concerned, and they're very trepidatious about this. So that's why it's important to you know, not to beat a dead horse, but you know, there's going to be the rules followed there. There's going to be the social distance. It's not going to be people on top of each other.
Yeah.
But yet it's going to be a pleasant experience to go in there, and it's also some familiarity. You know, everything has been so different and so confining, and you know, with the curfews and the quarantines and all the rules and everything, and people haven't been able to go to their favorite haunts. You know, the bars have been closed, the clubs have been closed, the beaches have been closed, and the Tuesday market is one of those things that's kind of a mainstay. You know, it gives you a sense of stability. All right, the market's open.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
it's kind of like when they open the grocery stores. You know, okay, well, it can't be all bad. The grocery stores are open. You know, I can still get gasoline. You know, and so these aspects of our life here, especially those of us who, you know, are familiar with going to the market, that's kind of a calming thing. You know, it's like, well, okay, things are starting to get back to normal.
Yeah,
Right?
it's going
Yeah.
to be one of the pointers towards normality. I think whatever normal
Normal's gonna
whatever
end up
normal is
look
these
like.
days,
Yeah.
That especially made for radio.
I know.
Twitch.
Well, you know, there is YouTube. Well, I'll
Yeah.
zoom in on that when
Zoom
I
in
edit
on
the
that,
video.
yeah.
Yeah, we'll
Yeah.
zoom in on you twitching like that.
So
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, as BCP, to us it was very important to make sure that we continue the community activities.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and the market is the first one that we're able to get back to.
Yeah.
Yeah, I understand that some people will be very reluctant to actually go out and mingle.
Yeah.
Others have been going out and mingling anyway.
Well,
so,
yeah, that's true.
But we'll do everything we can. You know, if anyone has any specific concerns, we'll try and address them.
Yeah.
But we're doing what we can.
And since this is the BCP market, I did want to ask you. I've been in that venue, you know, several times, and I know that the last time I was in there was a stage there. Is the
Yeah.
stage still there?
There is still a stage there, yes.
And is that going to come into play with the BCP events? I know this is the market radio show, but you know, these are some of the
Well,
questions that have
No,
been
this is
given
a
to me.
BCP show.
This is
Come
a
on,
BCP show.
Yeah, radio BCP.
So there's a stage there. I know there's lighting there. I've heard music played there. I know that with the drop ceiling now, it won't sound like an empty airplane hangar because the acoustics were terrible in there.
They're not brilliant now, but they
they've
are
got to
better
be
than
better.
they were. Yes,
So is
yeah.
that going to be is that building going to encompass other aspects of the BCP?
It could. We're looking at quite a few other things that we
Yeah.
can do. We're going to utilize the stage for the first few markets as a place that one of the vendors can be on.
Okay.
Because on our original plan to get 50 vendors in, we had to use
You
the
have
stage.
to use the stage, yeah.
And we're sort of keeping it that way by default. We're sort of splitting the room in two, effectively. But yet, there's nothing to say that, you know, we couldn't perhaps hire the room for other events.
Sure.
One of the things we've obviously been looking at, apart from the market, is the talks, the Tuesday
Right.
talks, which, strange enough, were also on a Tuesday. We felt that was a tradition we had to keep up for a while, you know.
Yeah.
But over the months and years, we had some kickback about the talks being on at the same time as
The market,
As the market.
yeah.
There were some people who didn't want to come because even in those days they didn't want to have to push through crowds to get to them.
Sure.
There were some people who missed them because they were busy shopping and forgot.
Yeah.
Yeah. Some of the vendors also wanted to attend the talks but
Sure.
couldn't
Because they were vending.
because they were vendors. They had to stay where they were. or close down, and they didn't want to do that.
No,
so,
no.
although the Tuesday Talks was a very good thing for most people, there were some people who weren't happy. We looked at the possibility of doing the talks on the Feria ground at the same time as the market. We came to the conclusion that that wasn't really practical for quite a few reasons. There wasn't really a venue there that was suitable for all weathers.
Right, I was going to ask about that.
Yeah,
it does rain occasionally here.
Yeah, it does, doesn't it? Yeah, it might even do that today. You never know. So, we eventually came to the conclusion. Well, the only real venue at the Feria that would have been suitable is at the far end of the grounds.
Right. That building way on the. Yeah.
And to have people having to walk backwards and forwards, I don't like that walk. It's uphill going up.
Yeah, no,
it's hard work.
It's,
but anyway, a lot of people aren't even as mobile as I am. So, we thought no, that wasn't going to work. I don't think I'm betraying any confidences by saying this. I have been talking to the library.
Oh, okay.
About the possibility of
that third floor area where they do the photo shows and all that. Yeah.
And that's a distinct possibility that we could do what we're going to call community chat. There on a Thursday.
Okay. Yeah.
It's a venue that people know. It's easily accessible. Obviously, to start with, we may have to do the social distancing bit, in which case I think we could probably get about 20 people in the room, maybe 25.
Yeah.
The magic number.
Yeah, well, yeah.
And I think it would be a more intimate venue than having the talker on the stage talking, not literally, but down to people.
Yeah.
There'd be more interaction, we hope.
So, they also have screens and projectors too.
Yeah.
I know when I did my Tuesday talk there, I relied on your computer, my thumb drive, and the screen. That was kind of important. So, and I'm pretty sure they have that.
Yeah.
They have that there.
Yeah. So that's a distinct possibility.
And they have an elevator.
That's something I don't know when we'll start that, but it's certainly something that we can do.
Yeah.
There's also other possible venues for doing that sort of thing.
Yeah.
So,
but the library does make sense, and they're really, I mean, that's another staple of the community. I've had the library people from the library on the show several times, and I know that they're very vested in community, services, community organization. They support a lot of the communities, and the Tuesday talks have always been really popular.
Yeah.
I mean, even though, like you said, there might be some people who, get distracted with the shopping or vendors and all that, but the actual information, I've been to so many of those things. I mean, I've always suspected, Paul Myers, the volcano guy, I mean, there's just, and I got to have, Paul, if you're listening, I haven't forgotten about you. We'll get you on the show within the next couple of weeks, but it's a good way to get information out to the community, and over the years it's gotten very popular.
Yeah.
So it would be nice to see that again. As nice as it would be to see, the music review and the old timey radio show and the plays. I really enjoy the Tuesday talks or the community chats.
Yeah, community chat is what we're looking at calling it now. So
cool.
But I mean, you mentioned the theatre.
Yeah.
Obviously, that's also something that's very, very dear to us.
Well, yeah.
And I think I said last time we were here, but it's worth repeating that Tap Out have very generously said that we can use the theatre free of charge.
Good.
So we can do theatre productions on the same basis that we had before. Yeah. They will also be putting on other things in the venue. So
well, they got the vets stuff that they do there. Yeah, there's other things they do in the theatre.
So there'll be more events probably in the theatre than we were able to manage. But of course, all of what we do relies heavily on our team of volunteers.
Yes. Let's talk about because I know that I've been one.
Yes, you have.
Once or
and
twice.
you were a really good one.
And
Al.
I know that Day has thrown her hand in the hat there, and I know that I have some really fond memories of just, of course, getting the work done, but the general goofing around and the camaraderie was a lot of fun, there. So I think you were gonna talk about
I did.
that.
I did want to talk about our team of volunteers. In my opinion, as a resident of Boquete, being a volunteer at the BCP is one of the best volunteer opportunities you can get involved in. I'm involved in other things besides the BCP. They're also wonderful, but in this particular with the BCP, we have enough volunteers where no one is, saddled with a big job all the time, except for the board.
Well,
Except
I
for
remember
the
that
board.
too.
The board is, but those that are interested in volunteering for the BCP, some of the things that those volunteers do are just simply. One example is collecting the mail. I can tell you that the volunteers that we have that collect the mail report to me all the time how much they enjoy it. One reason is because they get to interact with the neighbors with reasonable social distancing. Two, they it's their big outing, and they get to interact with people that let them know how much they appreciate them doing that. Because without the mail service that we provide through the BCP, many of us are quite challenged just to, send a card out. Or
No, it's $45 to send the mail out through DHL or whatever, and I'm not trying to take away from the service that our local, mail receiving and sending places do, because we rely on them to get our stuff. But $45 to send an envelope out,
that's a
is a little taxing.
And I am amazed at that the people in our community that come forward and say, "I'll take the mail," and we do scrutinize who takes the mail. And it's, if you dropped it in the mailbox in the United States, you hope it will arrive.
Yeah.
And it's no different than doing it here. And with one very rare exception, it has been hugely successful.
Yeah.
As far as I know, people's mail arrive and without any problems. But some of the other volunteer things that are available at the BCP or that people get to be involved in is theater production. Our volunteers include, people that get involved with the theater, ticket sales. We've had children's parties for the community. And of course, one of the things we've always done is, ask for people to support the BCP, support the BCP financially.
Show me the money.
Well, it's not a lot, and honestly, I remember when I first came to Boquete, coming to the BCP market was it's your first big step into leaving the life that you knew to a foreign place that is unfamiliar to you, to run into other expats and learn about the things that we all need to learn about. So it's so much more than a market. It's so much more than a theater. It's so much more than mail collection and all the things that we enjoy there. So we invite anyone in the community that would like to be a volunteer. You will not be saddled with a big job. It will be, whatever you would enjoy doing, and you have to enjoy interacting with the public, and we end up being an information center hub. You'll see many of us sitting there in our red vests, and people are walking up to us, and they're asking where people are in the market. They're asking about things that have nothing to do with the BCP market, and if you
Where does the bus leave from them?
I know, and if you enjoy being one of those ambassadors for Boquete, then you will thoroughly enjoy.
That's a volunteer opportunity as well.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Now, I wanted to make sure that people knew about the mail. There are restrictions, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah, because I know I had taken the mail once, and there was a lot of it, but it was all flat envelopes. And I had room in my, but then I had asked you, last time I saw you, hey, I have a package, a small package And you had let me know that, well, that's, you can try doing that, privately, but as far as that goes, so what are some of the restrictions if you are going to be putting your mail with the Gringo Express?
Gringo Express, yes, it needs to be flat envelopes, and I think it's I don't know if it's legal size is the largest envelope that we can accept.
Yeah, I think so.
But they need to be flat. I mean, we do have. I understand. Believe me, I do. We have people that that want to cram in things that make it a kind of a fat little package, and that all in itself doesn't seem like much. But when I hand somebody 50 pieces of mail, it's a lot. Yeah. So. I encourage anybody that has, as I did you, Al, if you've got a small package, our social media is wonderful.
Oh, yeah.
You throw it out there to say, can anyone help me? Someone always says yes. Yeah. But mail through the BCP, it's got to be flat letters. Otherwise, we won't ever get another volunteer if we present them with where they have to leave their clothes behind to carry our mail.
Right? I know. And I'm trying to figure out, if I didn't have a stamp, where would I be able to get a stamp?
Oh, well done. Good segue. Very good
What
segue.
a question.
Very good. Yes, we definitely at the BCP always keep stamps, and we sell those stamps for $1 a piece. I think if we bought them in the States, they're more like 50 cents. But it's a little opportunity to put a little money in the coffers for some of the events that we put on and the costs associated with it.
For 50 cents, I don't have to go find a stamp, so it's worth it. It's
Thank
worth
you.
the Balboa, right?
Thank you.
And we do a special offer as well. You can buy 2 stamps for $2.
That's great. That's wonderful. What a peach.
But let me say one more. Let me say one more thing about our volunteers, and I.
You
I'm
keep talking because I'm eating these cookies.
Okay, go ahead. Yes, I had to.
She
I had
made
to bring
Jan.
cookies.
By the way, for those of you who are listening and watching, Jan made these chocolate chip cookies.
Well, since it's open,
They're chocolate, walnut, and what else is in there?
Listen, they've all already hung up, Al. They've been listening to you. Nom, nom,
Oh
nom,
my
nom.
gosh, I'm going to have to move back here because you just go ahead, keep talking. I'm going to eat this cookie.
Well, I just want to say one more thing on a broader level about the volunteers at the BCP, because this is really important to me. This is one of the reasons why I'm passionate about the BCP, and very important to me and be involved in it. There's no one at the BCP that is making any money. There's not any salaried people. Phil isn't a vendor. I'm not a vendor. The people that make all this happen. We have a beautiful woman in town that does all of our bookkeeping, and she does it on her own time out of the goodness of her heart. We have a CPA in town that has generously agreed to do all the oversight for all the financial, transactions that we do. Now we have to pay. A couple of people that help load and unload and clean, but when it comes to board positions, people that make all this happen, they're strictly volunteers, and I think it's important that our community know that.
Yeah, I don't think a lot of people are aware that, and you understand that the people who come in afterwards and do the cleaning, and the people who load and unload, they are entitled to earn their money doing that.
Absolutely.
They're not classified as volunteers. They're more or less as a cleanup crew or operations. But I don't think a lot of people in the community realize that for the most part, everything is done on a volunteer basis. The board members aren't paid.
Nope.
The people who, give us a list if you can off the top of your head, some of the types of volunteers. I know that you've mentioned a couple here and there, but you've got the board members. You've got either one of you can do that. Who's part of the team that keeps all of this machine running?
Well, Jan's already mentioned a fair bit of it. I mean, there's obviously there's the board, the membership team get involved in all kinds of things, like as you said already, the ticket sales for the theatre, helping us to organise things like the talks, all that, and the mail, that sort of stuff. But it's also important to talk a bit more about the theatre, I think, because
Yes.
Okay.
every production that we put on is entirely operated and performed by volunteers. So we have, for instance, technical people, lighting, sound. Sometimes I'm doing both, sometimes I'm not,
Unsung heroes for sure.
Yeah. There's the backstage people, stage manager, the talent herder at the back.
Props people, the talent herder.
Yeah.
I remember that. In that green room, we're all trying to be quiet, but you can't be quiet because there's like 50 of you back there.
Yeah.
That door opens up. Shh. Like, okay.
Makeup people. There's all kinds of people involved in the theatre production, and as I say, there's the cast as well, musicians, dancers, actors. At the last music show, there were, I think, the total number of cast was either 42 or 44. It was over 40.
Yeah.
And the cast herder had plenty to do for that.
Oh yeah.
On a play, there's stage management, there's props management. That sort of thing going on as well.
Well, I remember the two music shows that I was in. Just having to organize rehearsals seemed to be like, again, herding cats, because there weren't as many. I think there were 30 of us or 32 of us, something like that, in the low 30s. But trying to coordinate the rehearsals throughout the week with the production team, with the props team, with the sound, with the lights, and with the talent herders, 4 or 5 days a week for weeks up to the show. All of that was done on a volunteer basis.
Yeah.
Everyone gave up their time,
A lot of time.
their talent, their patience. Because sometimes you know how those things go.
Oh,
Yeah.
I remember patience.
But when you're doing the show, whether it's a music show, whether it's the play, as a performer, I can tell you that there's no feeling more satisfying than that applause at the end, because you knew that everything that everyone did, not just the performers, but all the backstage people and like the tech people and everything, it all came together, and the time that everybody gave and donated was worth it. And that, when the community gives you accolades like, we really enjoyed this, thank you, it makes it all worth it.
Yeah, it's also been amazing sometimes to me. I mean, I've been involved so much now in so many productions that afterwards, people will talk about it having not seen any of the mistakes that occurred.
Well, yeah.
Because there are always mistakes.
Yeah.
Missed lighting cues, microphone's not on, someone not in the right place.
Forgetting the song you're playing in the middle of the song.
Yeah, that's been known to happen as well, hasn't it? But speaking of it all being done by volunteers, very occasionally we get challenged on the fact that, you're charging $15 a time or whatever to come in, where does all the money go? Well, quite frankly, up until we had to move out of where we were, the money went on maintaining the property.
Well, sure, you got rent, utilities, repairs.
Yeah, the terms of our lease were such that we were totally responsible for the upkeep of the building. And over if I'm right in the figure, over the previous 10 years, we had spent about $73,000 on the upkeep of the building. That's not including our rent and utilities. That's the maintenance of the building. So
plus, you have to reply. I remember when I was on the board a couple of years ago, the roof needed to be fixed, and that was a major expenditure.
Yes.
Looking for a new sound system, those aren't cheap either. So.
Electrical, air conditioning.
Things wear out and they have to be replaced. So I'm glad that you brought that up, because I don't think that the community, or a good part of the community, was aware that part of the responsibility for the BCP was the upkeep of the building.
Yeah.
So
that was a major thing. I mean, the volunteers have been the one thing really that's kept us all going.
Yeah.
We couldn't have done what we've done without the volunteers, and we're going to keep doing whatever we can to serve the community in the best possible way.
Well, it's good to know that, the BCP is the Boquete Community Players. I believe that's the correct
Playhouse.
Playhouse.
Playhouse? Oh, no, that's what they call Phil. Okay.
Okay. Phil, what are you going to be on Halloween? That's it. It's such an important part of our community. Well, it's not just the market that is being, brought back into the community. It's things like the Tuesday Talk or the community chats and the plays and the music. I'm hoping there's going to be another music review.
We are planning one.
You know,
Yes, it
I
probably won't be until January.
I hadn't been able to be involved in that, able to at least be part of it,
Yeah.
some way or the
Well,
other.
we'll think about that.
Yeah, think about that.
We'll make sure you've got the song list
the song.
in front.
I know. People ask me, why did you switch the song in the middle of the song? Yeah, I forgot what I
But
was
how
doing.
many people noticed?
Nobody.
No.
Nobody. And my wife knew that I noticed it. And she goes, nobody else noticed it. I didn't even have to say, I cannot believe I totally screwed that up. I went from one song to another.
Yeah.
She goes, no, everyone just thought it was a segue. I was
I
like,
did-
oh,
yeah.
right.
I was right there doing your sound stuff.
But it wasn't a medley.
I know. Yes, it was, in fact, a medley.
I didn't realise it wasn't deliberate.
Yeah.
But stranger things have happened on stage.
They have. Oh, absolutely, yeah. But the market, the chats, the lectures, talks, whatever you want to call them, community chats, the theater, the music review. These are all things that the community has come to almost expect. What's the BCP doing this year? What plays are they going to have? What music are they going to have? What's the market? I know that the market has changed and evolved, over the years. Even though it might not all be in the same place anymore, it's really important, I think, that the community understands and realizes that it hasn't gone away. You may have to go to the library if you work that out. You may have to go to, wherever to back over to, the old BCP building for the plays, and the market's over here. But I don't think that's a bad thing. I don't think it's a bad thing at all.
No, the important thing to us is maintaining the continuity with the community.
Yeah.
And apart from the obvious things like the market and the theatre, because of what we've had to do in the last however many months it is since March. What month is it now? I don't know.
I think we're in, I don't know, what year is it?
So it's going to be October.
It's going to be
October
October
next week,
2026, right? I think is.
Yeah. It's the community is very important, and we've learned over the last 6 months to look at alternative venues for all sorts of things, and it's quite surprising what's hopped out of the woodwork. As you could do something here.
Yeah.
You could almost do little impromptu things
Sure.
at various places.
Yeah. Well, one or two person little productions. You could probably do those at the library too.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. And we got like 5 or 8 minutes left here. 5-6 minutes. 5-6 minutes. One of the things that we haven't addressed yet is the parking, because I know people have asked about that. I know it's a cringe-worthy subject. Anytime in Boquete you mention parking,
Yeah.
but I've gotten a couple of questions on, hey, ask about the parking, and I know we discussed that the last time when you and Sheila were on the show. So what's the parking going to be like there? How are you going to get that to work?
When the new multi-story car park opens just across... No, sorry. That was a dream I had.
That was a dream. Yeah.
There is plenty of roadside parking alongside the Feria. Both sides of the road. They've cleaned up the sides of the road. Okay. So there's plenty of spaces within.
It's kind of like when you go to the fair. You just park along but without the vendors on the street.
Without the vendors on the street. Yeah.
That's plenty of room.
It's at the moment it's the best we can do. Yeah. There is, there is a possibility of another bit of land being opened up nearby that we would be able to use.
Okay.
But that's up in the air at the moment. So
Sure. Sure.
that's the best we can do at the moment is to say.
Well, that's and there's a lot of people that live downtown. I live downtown, close enough to whereas Day would walk. She walks to Romero. She walks everywhere. Not so much for me. I would still need to drive down there, but I think the percentage of people that were walking to when it was at the at Tap Out are still going to walk because it's right across the street.
Yeah, it's the same
So
distance.
it's not going to be a problem. And I know that the people have asked about, well, why don't you keep using the Tap Out parking lot? Well, they're doing their own thing on Tuesday,
that's
so
entirely up to
that's
them.
entirely
I
up to
mean-
them. But I do remember when I've gone to the fair. I did security at Oktoberfest. I've been there for the health fair, and I've never really had a problem parking on that street. I might have had to walk a block, if I was down the other end, but it wasn't a deterrent. We're like, well, if I have to park on the street, I'm not going. So that will be open. Both sides of the street
Oh
will be
yes,
open.
yeah.
Cool.
And it's looking good along the sides of the street at the moment.
Well, they've been doing a lot of work around
They-
town.
they have,
They
yes,
have.
they-
I really got to give a shout out to Joswar.
I don't know. I'm not quite sure how you pronounce
I'm not,
it.
because I know people that that pronounce the J and
Yeah.
people that don't. So I don't
Yeah.
know. I don't know.
Yeah.
Joswar. I
Okay,
got to
yeah.
hand it to him and the crew there. That they've been, if you've been looking on social media, they've been going around while everything's been shut down. They haven't stopped.
No.
They've been out there fixing roads, fixing water lines, planting flowers. Those Greeks, what do you call statues along the road? I know that's a
Urns.
contentious subject. I think they look great, but they've been doing a good job on the off. Looks like you guys been working your butts off for the 6 months. They've been doing it too. So I know that stretch of road has been one of the roads they've been working on. So
Yeah, it's
Cool.
it's nice and clean up there now. So just
Right.
you can park. You don't have to, take up too much space parking. You can go nose in against
nose
the wall
in,
now.
yeah. Okay,
So
cool.
it's
Well,
quite
we
easy.
got about a minute and a half left. Is there anything you want to throw out there?
Jan, anything you can think of?
We want to invite you all to come out
Yeah.
on Tuesday
play, yes.
to the BCP
But-
Market.
Only come 25 at a time.
Just, you know what? Come by, drop off a piece of mail. It's time for you to write to Aunt Sally anyway.
That's right.
And, if you're not comfortable coming in, it's okay. Peer in. Look and see what's going on. Just
involved.
enjoy getting out and seeing our community come back to life.
Yes, that's probably the main thing.
Yeah.
Just
Come and see.
everyone has been waiting for this. I know that you guys have. We'll put a lot of work into it, and if I am in town on Tuesday morning, I'm gonna see if I can get down there and drag Day down.
You
with
could
me,
do a live Facebook thing.
I've did that a couple of times.
Yeah.
Might do that with my Radio Cherokee mask. How about that?
Yeah.
One more thing, though,
Sure.
Al, and hopefully this will get people out the door. We are heartbroken that so many people in Panama and in Boquete have not been able to earn a living
Yeah. Oh gosh.
because
yeah.
of these markets
That's terrible.
being closed.
Absolutely.
So please come out and support them.
Yeah.
They need your support,
Yeah.
and just seeing people out will help people realize, okay, I can get back to,
Sure.
earning a living for my family.
Yeah. Well, a lot of us, we have alternate sources of income. We have Social Security, we have, pensions or whatever, and a lot of the vendors don't. So, that $5 bill you have in your pocket can mean the difference between that family eating for a few days or not. So, yeah, that's a real good point. Thank you for bringing that up, Jan. We need to support our local neighbors.
Yes.
Absolutely.
All right, you've been listening to BoqueteNOW Talk Radio on Radio Cherokee 103.3 FM. We've had a wonderful conversation with Jan Thompson and Phil Bennett from the BCP. Market opens on Tuesday at 9 o'clock.
Whoop, whoop.
Whoop, whoop. And we look forward to everyone going there and getting back to the swing of things in the community. We are sponsored by Big Daddy's Grill, Boulder 54 in the Tap Out Sport Zone, and we will see you next week. Thank you very much.